Welcome to Better Now. Here, you'll find practical tips and insights to help you become simply 1% better every day. Let's get started. Have you ever felt stuck in a loop of unproductive habits like you're going nowhere fast? Imagine if, instead of struggling to change everything at once, you could start small, like really small, and see real results. That's exactly what Atomic Habits by James Clear is all about. This book reveals a game-changing secret. Tiny changes can lead to remarkable results. Picture this. If you improve just 1% every day, by the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. Sounds incredible, right? James Clear breaks it down for us, showing how the little habits we often overlook can create a snowball effect that transforms our lives. But this isn't just another self-help book filled with vague advice. Clear gives us actionable strategies and relatable stories that show how anyone can make these changes stick. Whether you want to wake up earlier, eat healthier, or just stop scrolling through your phone at night, Atomic Habits provides the tools to help you build habits that last. So, if you're ready to unlock your potential and take control of your life, stay tuned. We're diving into the key lessons from this powerful book that can help you break bad habits and cultivate the good ones. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Lesson 1. The Power of 1% Improvement. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly reach their goals, while others struggle to make progress even with the best intentions? Maybe you've tried to change a habit before, wake up earlier, exercise regularly, or finally stick to that side project. But after a few days, the motivation fades, and you're back to square one. It's frustrating, right? Well, here's the thing. We've been going about it the wrong way. In Atomic Habits, James Clear presents an entirely different approach to personal growth, one that challenges the common belief that success requires massive, dramatic changes. Instead, he introduces a concept so simple yet powerful. If you can just get 1% better each day, those small improvements will compound into extraordinary results over time. It's a revolutionary mindset shift that changes everything about how we approach habits. Let's break it down. Improving by 1% each day might sound insignificant at first, like barely moving the needle. But imagine this. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you'll be 37 times better by the end of it. That's not just wishful thinking. It's math. It's the power of compounding in action, but applied to your life, your habits, and your goals. Think about how this works in everyday life. Let's say you want to get in shape, but the thought of working out every day for an hour feels overwhelming. What if instead you started with just 5 minutes of exercise each day? It seems like nothing, but that's the point. That 5 minutes is manageable. It's a habit you can stick to. And over time, as you build the habit, you naturally start to increase it. Soon, 5 minutes turns into 10, then 20, and before you know it, you've developed a consistent workout routine that feels second nature. Or let's take something as simple as reading. You want to read more books, but finding an hour a day to read seems impossible. So, you commit to reading just 1 page a day. That's it, just 1 page. In a year, you'll have read an entire book. And if you can manage 2 pages, 3, it adds up fast. These are the kinds of small but powerful shifts that James Clear teaches in Atomic Habits. The beauty of this concept is that it's not about sudden drastic transformations. It's about the slow, steady accumulation of small improvements that over time lead to big results. And here's the best part. It doesn't require perfection. You don't have to be flawless every day. Even if you slip up, as long as you're generally trending upwards, even just a little bit, you're moving in the right direction. The truth is, we often overestimate what we can achieve in a short amount of time and underestimate what we can accomplish through consistent, incremental progress. That's why this approach works. It's sustainable, it's realistic, and it's powerful. So what's the real takeaway here? Atomic Habits isn't just a book about changing habits. It's about changing the way you think about improvement and success. It's about understanding that small changes, compounded over time, can completely transform your life. And now that we've laid the foundation, let's dive deeper into how you can apply these principles in your own life. We'll explore how to identify the habits that are holding you back, and more importantly, how to build new, positive ones that move you closer to the person you want to become. Lesson 2: The 4 Laws of Behavior Change. Now that we've laid out the power of small changes, let's dive into the heart of James Clear's Atomic Habits, the framework that makes these small habits stick, the 4 Laws of Behavior Change. These laws aren't just abstract concepts. They're practical tools that can transform the way you approach any habit, whether you're building good ones or trying to break bad ones. Law 1. Make it obvious. Think about this. How often do we set goals but forget them in the hustle of everyday life? That's where this first law comes in. Make it obvious. The key to building a habit is to make it impossible to ignore. Let's say you want to start drinking more water each day. The challenge is, you usually forget until you're thirsty. So, what can you do? One simple tactic is to place a water bottle on your desk, where you'll see it constantly throughout the day. Or set a recurring reminder on your phone that nudges you every hour to take a sip. Suddenly, drinking water isn't just an afterthought, it's right in front of you, begging for your attention. The same goes for other habits. Want to start reading more? Put a book on your nightstand or next to your morning coffee mug, so it's one of the first things you see. The more visible and accessible the habit, the more likely you'll follow through. Law 2. Make it attractive. Here's the truth. We're naturally drawn to things that are enjoyable. That's where the second law comes in. Make it attractive. If you can find a way to make a habit something you actually want to do, you're far more likely to stick with it. James Clear suggests a brilliant technique called temptation bundling. Imagine you want to start running but dread the thought of it. What if you paired your run with something you love, like listening to your favorite podcast or an audiobook? You could make a deal with yourself. I'll only listen to my favorite true crime series when I'm on a run. Suddenly, that habit of running isn't just something you have to do, it's something you get to do. This works for all kinds of habits. Maybe you want to start cooking at home more, but the idea feels like a chore. Pair it with your favorite playlist or a phone call to a friend while you prep. The more appealing you make the habit, the less resistance you'll feel. Law 3. Make it easy. Have you ever been so motivated to start a new habit that you set huge, ambitious goals, only to burn out a week later? That's because motivation isn't reliable. What you need is simplicity, which brings us to the third law. Make it easy. The trick is to lower the bar so much that it feels ridiculously easy to start. Clear calls this the 2-minute rule. Any habit should be so simple that it can be done in 2 minutes or less. Want to read more? Don't aim for 30 pages a day. Start by reading just 1 paragraph. Trying to meditate daily? Don't worry about 20-minute sessions. Just focus on sitting down, closing your eyes, and breathing for 2 minutes. Why 2 minutes? Because getting started is the hardest part. Once you've taken that first step, you'll often find that momentum carries you further. You might end up reading several pages or meditating longer than planned, but even if you don't, you've still succeeded. The habit has begun. Let's take an example from fitness. Instead of committing to a full hour at the gym right away, start by putting on your workout clothes. That's it. Once you've got the clothes on, you're already more likely to get moving, even if it's just a 5-minute walk. This law teaches us that small, easy actions are the gateway to bigger, consistent results. Law 4. Make it satisfying. Finally, let's talk about the reward system. The brain loves rewards, and that's what the 4th law is all about. Make it satisfying. If there's no immediate payoff, it's hard for a habit to feel worthwhile. So, you need to create a system that gives you a sense of satisfaction, right now. For example, if you're trying to save money, it's easy to feel discouraged because the long-term reward, like buying a house or going on vacation, feels far away. So Clear suggests creating small, immediate rewards. Maybe every time you transfer money to your savings account, you add a star to a chart or treat yourself to a small luxury, like a fancy coffee. That small win makes the habit feel good today, not just in the distant future. For fitness goals, let's say you're trying to stick to a daily workout. After each session, reward yourself with something simple but satisfying, like a long, hot shower, a delicious smoothie, or even just marking off a big X on your calendar. Those small rewards create a sense of achievement, which encourages you to keep going. Think of it like this. The brain craves that dopamine hit. When you link a habit to something pleasurable, even in a small way, you're reinforcing the behavior and making it more likely to stick over the long haul. By following these 4 laws, make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying, you're creating a framework that sets you up for success. Habits are no longer about willpower or massive effort. They're about designing your environment and life in a way that makes good habits inevitable and bad habits harder to sustain. Let's take a moment to reflect. Think about one small habit you've been wanting to build. How can you make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying? When you start with these tiny, manageable changes, you'll be amazed at how quickly those 1% improvements add up. Small habits, repeated consistently, truly have the power to transform your life. If this video is adding value to your day, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights coming your way. Lesson 3. The role of identity in habit formation. One of the most profound insights from Atomic Habits is understanding the link between our habits and our identity. James Clear explains that it's not just about what we do, but who we believe we are. Habits are a reflection of the identity we hold, and changing our habits starts with changing how we view ourselves. Rather than focusing solely on the outcomes or goals, like losing 20 pounds or writing a book, ask yourself a different question. Who do I want to become? This shift in mindset is where real, lasting change begins. Let's look at an example. Imagine someone who's trying to get fit. Instead of setting a generic goal like, I want to lose weight, they adopt a new identity by saying, I am a healthy and active person. This small change in phrasing is significant. When you believe you're a healthy person, every choice you make, whether it's going for a walk, preparing a nutritious meal, or drinking more water, aligns with that identity. Suddenly, the habit isn't a struggle. It becomes a natural part of who you are. And this concept applies to every area of life. If you want to become a more productive writer, stop thinking of yourself as someone trying to write a book. Instead, start seeing yourself as an author. Every time you sit down to write, even if it's just a paragraph, you're reinforcing that belief. I am an author. This is why identity-based habits are so powerful. When your actions align with your sense of self, they become sustainable. Habits stop feeling like an obligation, and instead, they become a part of who you truly are. Lesson 4. The Plateau of Latent Potential. Now let's dive into something James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. It's a concept that perfectly captures the frustration many of us feel when we start a new habit. We expect fast results, whether it's in weight loss, learning a new skill, or building a business. But more often than not, our progress feels slow. We put in the effort, day after day, and yet the changes seem invisible. But here's the thing. Growth doesn't always happen in a straight line. Progress is often delayed, building up beneath the surface until it finally breaks through, like an ice cube slowly warming until it suddenly melts. Let's use this ice cube analogy to better understand the idea. Picture yourself in a room that's 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold, but the ice cube remains frozen. You turn up the heat to 26, then 27 degrees, but nothing seems to change. You continue applying heat, pushing it to 28, 29, 30 degrees. Still, nothing happens. It's easy to feel discouraged, right? But then, at 32 degrees, everything shifts. The ice begins to melt. This is how habits work. You might spend weeks or months not seeing any visible results, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Under the surface, small actions are compounding, creating momentum. Then, one day, seemingly out of nowhere, you start to see the benefits. It could be that first breakthrough at the gym where you suddenly feel stronger, or that moment of clarity when a skill you've been practicing just clicks. The key is to keep going, even when it feels like nothing is happening. As Clear puts it, mastery requires patience. The results will come if you stay consistent. You might not see progress right away, but every action is contributing to your future success. Lesson 5. Building a habit tracker. Let's talk about a practical, tangible way to track your progress, the habit tracker. Now, I know this might sound a little too simple, just checking off boxes on a calendar, but that simplicity is the magic. James Clear emphasizes that a habit tracker is more than just a tool. It's a daily reminder of your commitment, a visual proof of your consistency, and an effective way to keep yourself accountable. So how does it work? It's as easy as this. Each day that you complete your habit, you mark an X on your calendar. Done. It could be as small as drinking a glass of water every morning, or spending 10 minutes reading before bed. Whatever the habit, the key is consistency. Now, imagine this. You wake up every morning, and you see a chain of X's stretching across the entire month. Day by day, that line grows longer. It's not just ink on paper anymore. It's a reflection of your effort, discipline, and dedication. And here's the beauty of it. Once you see that chain forming, you'll find yourself driven by one simple rule. Don't break the chain. That small visual nudge becomes incredibly powerful. It's like a game where you don't want to lose your streak. The habit tracker becomes your personal scoreboard, and with each X you mark, you're reinforcing the belief that you are someone who sticks to their habits. It might seem trivial, but the satisfaction of putting that mark on the calendar taps into something deeper, the joy of progress. Even when the habit feels tough, that little X gives you a sense of accomplishment, reminding you that day by day you're getting better. It's a simple tool, but don't underestimate its impact. Small actions, when tracked and celebrated, can lead to huge changes. So, grab a calendar or even a notebook and start tracking. You'll be amazed at how motivating that simple act can be. Lesson 6. The power of community. Now, let's explore something that often goes unnoticed, but is incredibly powerful in shaping our habits: the role of community. We are, by nature, social beings. The people we surround ourselves with can have a profound impact on the habits we build, both good and bad. James Clear explains that when you're part of a group that shares your goals or values, it becomes easier to stick to your habits. Think about it. If you want to become a more active person, it's much easier if you're surrounded by friends who also enjoy being active. Their habits and mindset will naturally influence yours. On the other hand, if you're surrounded by people who have no interest in fitness, sticking to your workout routine becomes an uphill battle. Let's visualize this. Imagine a group of runners training for a marathon. Alone, each runner might hit a wall, lose motivation, or give up on a tough day. But when they train together, there's an unspoken energy that drives them. They feed off each other's perseverance. When one person struggles, the others cheer them on. When one person pushes harder, the others are inspired to do the same. That's the power of community. It elevates everyone. And it's not just about encouragement. Being part of a community also keeps you accountable. When others are relying on you, or when you've publicly committed to a group goal, there's an added layer of responsibility. You don't want to let your team down, and that extra pressure can be just what you need to stay consistent. So, if you're looking to build better habits, think about the people you spend the most time with. Are they helping you grow, or are they holding you back? Seek out communities that align with your goals, whether it's joining a fitness class, a writing group, or an online forum. When you surround yourself with people who share your ambitions, you'll find that building habits becomes not just easier, but also more enjoyable. As we bring our exploration of atomic habits to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on one key idea. Change isn't instantaneous. It's not the big leaps, but the small, consistent actions we take daily that shape our future. Each tiny decision, each small step we take, compounds over time, leading to monumental shifts in our habits and, ultimately, our lives. So, how about this? Right now, think of one small habit you want to adopt, or maybe one you'd like to let go of. It could be as simple as drinking a glass of water each morning, or taking a 5-minute break to clear your mind during the day. Apply the 4 laws of behavior change that we've discussed. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Watch as these small actions begin to create ripple effects in your life, moving you closer to becoming the person you envision. Now, before you leave, remember that change is a shared journey. If this video has sparked some inspiration, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe for more content that helps you grow, and share this video with friends and family who might also be on their own journey of transformation. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep striving for progress, one small habit at a time.